Welcome to the Post Float Podcast.
Yes.
All right, we're in.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling, baby.
Rolling, man.
Limp Biscuit.
Oh yeah, the limp. Hi, Jesse Butterfield.
Hi, Levi.
Hi, buddy. What you drinking there? Oh yeah,
Coffee.
yeah.
It's Sober October.
Yeah, we attempted to do no coffee for Sober October. We made it about 6 days.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. So coffee's good for you, but I think Jesse and I both we're trying to realize what we may have addictions to and what we were kind of at the mercy of. Coffee being one of them.
Coffee was the worst.
Particularly with me was buying coffee. Fucking buying coffee every day, almost. Like, let's just say every day. Might as well. It's $5 a day, man.
Woo.
A day.
It's like a pack of smokes.
That's insane. There's, average 30 days in a month. That's $150 you spend a month on a coffee. However, I don't know what they do at these magical fucking stores, man. But I can't make it at home. It's just milk and coffee. It's a latte, which, you know what? I probably shouldn't be drinking milk anyway. It kind of goes against what I do. But so I got a latte maker for Christmas. Yeah, I can't replicate it. I bet you I could have maybe if I just used regular milk from the grocery store. But I'm always like trying flaxseed. We don't have milk at home. First of all, daughter's allergic to it. And but no, I needed to get past the habitual nature of it. And
That's me.
that's it, man. You know?
Oh yeah, I was so hooked on espresso, just the darkest. I mean, I buy a dollar store. It's like a Mexican brick of espresso.
We've talked about it here before.
It's so good, dude.
It is good.
But
But
yeah,
what is it about adding and not to mention the milk. It's not good. It's definitely not. It's probably full of sugar, everything else. Store-bought milk. But goddamn it, man, $5 a day. What a waste. But it became this little thing where I gotta look forward to it. Ooh, I don't have this. Or I already did that part. What's next? It became this consistent instant gratification. Okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And that's why when we brought up participating in Sober October, I was like, yes, man.
let's do coffee.
Let's do coffee. I failed on Saturday though. For some reason I couldn't sleep Friday night. I had a bunch going on Saturday morning I needed to prepare for, and next thing I know, it's 4 a.m. And then next thing I know, I'm up at 7:30 in the morning, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to probably dab into the coffee world. Which I didn't go buy a coffee. I made it at home.
Good for you.
But I felt like I'd be a danger on the road, whatever excuse I could come up with. Basically, I did have some coffee, but also I woke up the next day, didn't have any coffee. Today I didn't have any coffee until this, but we got out of our float, and I was like, you said you cheated this weekend too.
I did. Unbeknownst to my own self.
Yeah, you ordered a tea.
I ordered a
right?
tea. I was just like, oh, my wife's like, so Levi quit, so you're quitting too, huh? I'm like, there's caffeine in this? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. Because caffeine was the thing.
Caffeine was the thing, but to be honest, we should have been more specific. We were trying to break this habitual, like, I have to have coffee.
Right.
And like 3 cups a day or some weird thing. So yeah, you broke it. You ordered tea like a dummy, not knowing caffeine was in it. It's fucking tea.
Who knew that?
Everybody knows that.
I don't drink tea. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be
They just make
healthy
decaffeinated
today.
tea for fun. It's like, hey, let's just call one of them decaffeinated. Why not? That'd be cool. Maybe somebody will buy it. They'd be like, yeah, because there's no caffeine in regular tea.
Kind of like how there's still caffeine in decaf coffee.
Yeah, so I actually did that. Remember, it was the very first weekend. So full disclosure, I'm doing much better now, but I have this little problem way worse than coffee or buying coffee. And for the last decade or so of my life, I've really enjoyed my buddy nicotine. You know, and it's so funny because we've talked so much shit on this podcast about personal responsibility, things like that, etc. And but for like the last 5 years, I quit for 5 years. I remember a funny story. I was actually reading Uriah Faber's book. I don't know if he wrote it, but I like Uriah. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's done. And anyway, he had this moment in the book where he wrote, I can categorize into 4 categories most people. Consciously competent, which is boom, right? You're consciously being competent. You're making an effort to be competent to do something. That's probably the best category to be in. But then there's consciously incompetent. which would probably be the worst thing to be in, right? And then the other two are just kind of like, you can be unconsciously competent, which is just kind of like, yeah, you're just not trying to be competent, but you are, and cool, that's great. And then you could be unconsciously incompetent, just kind of being naive, I guess. It's really not. But to be consciously incompetent just resonated with me. I was like, because I know chew's not good for you. It's not good for you. And I literally was like, I'm being consciously incompetent. I know it's bad for me. I keep making up these bullshit excuses for like, so 5 years ago, whatever, I was like, I'm done. And I quit. And I quit for years and years and years. And then, I don't know how long it's been now.
You went on like a trip or something, didn't you?
Yeah, with my buddies who all chew. And so I was like, and I could do that. It was at the point where I could go golfing for a weekend or whatever. I don't know why I use that analogy anymore. I can't remember the last time I golfed kids in a business, but I used to go golfing and I could like have a beer to chew with my pals or whatever. And I don't care afterwards. I don't need to chew. But what happened was I left it in my pocket. And so it came home with me. So that's the thing. I can do it, but it can't come with me. We can't be that intimate.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I woke up the next morning and realized it wasn't the chew, like the cowboys leave the rings in their pocket type stuff anymore. It's just the pouches. Like,
oh, okay.
So it's still not as much nicotine, but still it's an addiction. But I come home the next morning from, hanging out with the guys and I have those pouches and I was like, I should probably throw this away. Yep. I was like, I'll just have one this morning. Why not? And I just had one in the morning, none for the rest of the day. But I remember waking up the next morning and going, well, that was a nice way to start the morning. Maybe I'll do that again. And then all of a sudden, maybe a little appetizer at lunch. Maybe a little, and then boom, I'm back. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I just watched myself do it. And I remember my wife just being like, what are you doing? And I was like, don't worry, I'm going to quit. Of course, everybody says, but I meant it, and if you've listened to the podcast, I take it pretty serious. I'm not going to bullshit myself. I knew. I was like, God damn it, man. I'm chewing again, just like that. And it's my favorite thing in the world. Ugh. Oh, God. I love it. I love nicotine so much, man.
It's so
like,
weird.
If I think about it in a weird way, like it's gross, right? Like if I think about a smoker or me, it's disgusting. Like cigarettes do nothing for me, but when I get addicted to that little molecule, man, it gets in my bloodstream. I'm done for.
That's crazy.
So, Jesus, to get back to the beginning of the story. So I have not chewed since last Sunday. I'm done, man. Done.
Over the hump.
And all my friends that were supposed to do it too during Sober October didn't. And look at me, 7 days later, you could be here. It's not over yet, but God, it's way better.
You think it's downhill from here?
It's all downhill from here. It's all down here from here. If we were talking last Monday, I'd be freaking out, man. But no, it's all downhill from here. I'm done for sure.
Nice.
100%.
Nice. You think you'll ever do it again? Golfing? Just that golf trip with the boys?
Yeah, probably will. Just like I'm not going to become an alcoholic, but I'm not going to stop socially drinking or anything either. But I want to bring up that point, man.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been 7 days, right? And actually, I quit on that Sunday, so I'm 8 days in or whatever that would be. How good do you feel, man?
Oh, dude, I feel so good. Like, alcohol's easy for me.
It's easy, but I mean, we don't even drink that much. But just sitting up, having an IPA, maybe one night or whatever, you don't realize how much that affects you. I feel fucking fantastic.
Dude, I've been sleeping so good.
So good, right? The sleep, that's what I was going to get to. You wake up and you're just like, you're ready to go.
Oh, man.
I woke up the other morning and Gina gets up early. So I just get up and I go out in the living room and I start stretching, doing my mobility. I'm take dude for a walk. And she's just kind of looking at me weird. And she's like, she didn't say anything out loud. But the next day she's like, oh, what are you doing? Just go back to, I'm like, well, I'm good now. I guess now I don't need to sit up and whatever, partake in this or that and, have my little me time. I actually feel so much better. I feel great.
Oh, man.
It's
for
crazy.
Sure. So the big one for me is actually like an illegal substance here in Nebraska, so I can't exactly talk about that too much. But I got over the hump, and it was just like, man, I don't need this. It's like, I just don't. And now, like, my sleep is way better.
It's crazy. So I have heard the rumors with this. We'll say it rhymes with Smeed, something like that when you partake quite frequently and then you stop, the dreams are nuts.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my dreams have been crazy, dude. Like 2 days ago, I had a dream that I was hanging out with the new middleweight champion of the UFC, Israel Adesanya, dude. We were eating sandwiches in a kitchen with my buddy Hunter, and he was just down to earth, just hanging out with Israel, man.
That's awesome.
And then like the second I thought about it, I was like in my dream consciously going, Israel's the champion of the world right now. What's he doing?
Why is he eating sandwiches with me?
And as soon as I thought that, he was gone. It was just like boom, and I was like, whoa, like. That's kind of crazy.
What's in these sandwiches?
And I've had some thoughts. I've had some thoughts about that too, just because like, just reading Carl Jung and understanding that his like attachment to dreams like is what separated him from Freud,
right?
Because he was Freud's protege. And he
disagreed with some of the sexuality.
Yeah, some of that too. But I think one of the big things is that dreams mean something.
Right.
Like it is like your subconscious mind trying to speak to your conscious mind. And so I was just like thinking about that because Freud thought it was all bullshit. He was like, no, like they're meaningless. They're just your experiences. But so I was thinking like the second I started questioning my like.
Oh, like you tapped yourself out of it.
It was I was just like, what's he like my worth? Like, I was like, what's he doing hanging out with me?
That's interesting.
He was gone.
Yeah.
And I kind of started thinking about
you
that.
You can't hang out with Israel anymore, man.
I was just like, don't
second guess
your own
ticket,
value,
dude.
I think. Like, I don't know. But then
That's
last night,
interesting.
my dream was just bananas. Like, I had this dream. So I saw this crazy video of like this person who had like an elephant ear leaf, like this giant green leaf, like this big, and they had like a little puddle of water in it. And there was 2 googly eyes in there, and they're all swirling around. It looks all cool. And we went to Sun Gardens here in Lincoln, and I saw this giant elephant ear. I was like, "Hey, Becky, look, some googly eyes in here." And so last night I had this dream that I had got this T-shirt, and it said googly in like the Google font, and it had the googly eyes on it. And then like all of a sudden I was like at this hotel door, and I like knock on the door, and I go in, and I'm like, and there's this room full of people, and it was like a cult, and I'm like in this googly-eyed cult. And then like the next thing I know, we're getting chased by these people, and then like we jump on this train, and they're like trying to bomb the train. There's these explosions going off, and there's these ATVs just like jumping after us, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Dude, was The Rock with you?
No, he wasn't. He should have been in this dream. No.
Oh my God.
It sounds like a Rock movie, right?
You totally need to cast him in this.
Dude,
you missed out. It could have been a multi-million-dollar payday.
Now, I don't know what Young
would
would
have. What does that one mean?
I don't know what Carl Jung would have said about that.
What does Jung got to say about this, man? Well, Carl Jung was the one who was big into the hero's journey. Yeah. And the... what was it? Not the 12 steps or what? How did that go?
Kinda. I can't quite remember, but it's like
I would have to go.
There's
look
like
at
it's like a big circle.
If I looked at it again,
Joseph
I'd
Campbell
remember.
breaks it down.
Campbell's
really,
the one who does
really,
that
really well.
So Joseph Campbell is the one who reinvented that though within the circle, right?
Pretty much,
for the hero's journey, which is fascinating.
Yeah, it's actually his book. Joseph Campbell's book is The Hero's Journey.
The Hero's Journey. I love that, man.
So cool.
I really do. I
Star
love that.
Wars,
I love that metaphor with anything. Yeah, Star Wars was predicated off that, right?
Yeah, Lucas even said that.
That's nuts, man. I forgot about that. The whole Star Wars, that whole thing, all predicated off the hero's journey.
Your own psychological journey.
Yep. I love that. We could go crazy on that someday.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the hero's journey and how you can basically warp that into everything.
Yeah,
everything, man. You're just slaying your own personal dragons. That's what it is. And anyway, but sorry.
Oh no, yeah, that was pretty much it. So it's like I've been sleeping really good. Like, I have been meditating a lot.
Oh, that's what I wanted to bring up. So you said you're doing the Waking Up app now.
Yeah, Sam Harris is
right.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Get it.
That's what I keep hearing.
Because dude, I got into like Zen and meditation in high school. Like, I graduated in 2005, and I've never really been much about guided meditation. I've always just been.
I'm not a huge fan.
Too cocky, just like I don't need guided meditation.
Oh, sorry. Oh, what? Hang tight, everybody. Got a little technical difficulties.
Crazy. That's crazy. We're talking about dreams and shit now. I feel like I'm in a dream.
You know what just happened?
I don't know.
We just got told that you guys, hey man, this is the wardrobe that you're not supposed to just to let everybody know exists.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to pull the veil.
You remember that googly-eyed T-shirt you were wearing?
Oh man, this is a simulation.
So we apologize if everything just got kind of weird and jumpy there for a second. We just had some technical difficulties. We might have a loose cable or something.
That was wild.
But I think we're back.
Yeah. So Sam Harris's app is great. Get it.
how does it differentiate from any other app? Because I was going to ask you that.
For me,
you gave a good analogy the other day, though. What was that one? Or not the analogy you were telling me, but you told me that he actually has a bit where he starts having you utilize sound.
So yeah, like the day one, he starts off saying like the whole goal of this is to sharpen the only tool you really have, which is your mind.
Right.
And so you just kind of start focusing on the breath and doing all these things, and then whenever you get lost, you just come back to the breath.
Yep.
And that's the whole goal, is just because
That's
everybody does
meditation,
that.
yeah.
Everybody does that. And so eventually he starts bringing in like just sounds, like you're closing your eyes and you're focusing on your breath, and then he asks you to start noticing just the sounds in the room that are coming in. They just appear on their own, and you just pay attention to the moment they begin all the way through to the moment that they end, and just notice them. Just notice what you're noticing. And today he actually said like all meditation is basically just paying attention, just noticing what you're noticing anyway.
That is meditation.
Like, bam! Like
it's that simple. Like, and I thought it'd be simpler to just tell people it's just focusing on something. It's concentration. That's it. Period. I mean, the way you're saying it's better. It's just, but that's all it is. When people say take your breath, and you're just giving yourself something to concentrate on.
Right.
That's the whole objective. Is just to concentrate on something for a period of time, etc. Right? Because we don't.
Yeah, and so I felt like like most of my life I didn't need a guide, because I was like saying I was too cocky, but then now I'm like doing this.
Sam's a stud though, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, like
such a smart dude.
I think a lot of people, like even he says so, like that a lot of people don't like to listen to him because he has such a monotone voice, and he just talks to you like this, and he just says, but I love that. It's just like no nonsense, just like this is what you're doing, and this is what you're doing, and this is what you're doing.
The cool thing is too, it's not some like, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's probably great meditation apps out there, but I call bullshit on guided meditation too. I mean, my whole skeptic flag just flies. I'm like, why do I need this? But Sam is just a different character.
He's a neuroscientist, man.
And it's not like it makes him better or worse, but also, you're getting him. He didn't make up that monotone voice for this app that he's going to sell to try to make money or anything like that. And it's 100% him. Mm-hmm. But I do admit, man, guided meditation just seems like the dumbest thing in the world to me sometimes. Now that I've heard you talking about Sam's, which I have to try.
I love it, dude. I'm on day 13. I've been doing it. It's waking up, so he encourages you to do it in the morning. So I've been doing it in the morning.
Oh, yeah, it does call it the waking up.
But yeah, it's called Waking Up app. But I do it in the morning and I do it at night, just because I'm doubling down on this thing, man.
You just like to stay woke, buddy.
I don't know, man. I just really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just notice, like, when I do it in the morning,
it's crazy how good you feel, right?
it's like I feel like I'm focused. I'm just like, I'm kind of what you're doing. But it's like, usually when I wake up in the morning, I'm kind of like, oh, what the hell's going on? Going through the motions. But now, like I'm going through my day, and like, I just feel so good to be alive, man. Like, it's like,
well, you were describing this a little bit before the podcast too, because we were actually, we never planned this stuff out, but these intentions we're supposed to bring out. You think most people are like, okay, so next week we're gonna do this, and we'll check. No, we usually kind of meet up at the float shop, and they're like, so what are we gonna talk about? And it originated with, let's talk about what does it mean, or I guess the power in the word no.
Yeah,
and we can probably get into that, but then we started talking further about. You obviously are doing this hardcore meditation with the Waking Up app through Sam Harris, and you started bringing up. I'll just let you take it from here, but go ahead and set up what you started talking about.
So yeah, I was like basically saying like the mind is a space in and of itself. Like it is a place, but it's
like a dimension of its own.
Kind of, yeah, but it's not like the physical world. It's got its own properties and its own like characteristics, and it's basically you. It's where you live.
Okay.
So like your brain is in your body. That's your body, and then your mind is somewhere in the brain. I don't know, but it's like the mind is the place where you live. Like it's not like you're not your mind. You're in your mind, and it's a plane. It's a space, and so like, and he talks about this in the meditation app as like.
So Sam talks about this
being a space. Like you are just all you are basically is a space to perceive experiences,
to be conscious, right?
For consciousness, yeah. So it's like everything you experience is happening in this space, which is you. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty crazy. And I don't know, man, just like walking around, I feel like a kid again, like just experiencing the wonders of life, like the green of the trees is just, it's just all this shit is just like, life is so wonderful, and you just miss out on it just by getting caught up in your own bullshit day to day. Just like, oh, what's the, making money, paying the bills, gotta cut the trees, gotta mow the land, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And it's like all this dumb shit that at the end of the day doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, it matters. You have to do it. Like, because
right. You don't have to explain the nuances of it. I get what you're saying.
The mind and the body are, like, it's connected. There's a connection there. Yeah. Like, so it's like, I don't want to say just the mind, you know what I mean? I don't want to, because like you were talking about that before, because you were like, don't want, it's like they're connected.
Yeah, I was talking about how I fear that some people are always going to associate the mind, the self, and the body as being utterly separate. And from a talking standpoint, like we could go off about that forever. I love the idea of what is that. It's a fun one, man. But I always get scared that people are going to separate the two somehow by just either jumping on this board or jumping on that. Like we would talk about teams in here in Tribe all the time. And so I can see a lot of people do that. Like especially some people I know love them to death, but there's like, the universe will just let happen whatever's going to happen and will it. And I'm like, what does that mean, man? Like, it doesn't mean if you just go and eat shitty food all day and don't take care of your body and everything else, that little spatial field, the mental area that's just you, is going to function the same way. It's not. We are still predicated to this meat vehicle.
Right.
That associates us to this reality that allows us to even get the experiences that we want through touch and feel and sound and everything else. They are integrated. They're not mutually exclusive in the least, because I see a lot of people that are especially intelligent people, like super intelligent people. This is where I see it at. And obviously it's easy for me to see a super intelligent person because I ain't one. So it's like, what are you? Oh, you're one of those things. Okay, cool. And I like watching them sometimes or following them on Twitter or whatever. But so many smart people do so much dumb shit. And I think it's because, and I could be wrong, but I think they create like this dichotomy between the mind and the body as being separate because they're so intellectual, right?
Yeah.
But if they eat like shit all day, if they eat, Wendy's, McDonald's, whatever, all the time, and they don't take care of the meat vehicle, it's going to affect the other faculties 100%.
100%.
They're not mutually exclusive.
So like imagine those people that have that super, super smart brain and they're not taking care of their bodies.
Right.
But they're still like, imagine if they took care of their bodies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Efficient that super smart brain would be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is it comes back to everything we've talked about in the last few episodes about personal responsibility, doing the work, everything else. I think it's like a prerequisite. It's a prerequisite to then have some of the realizations that you're having because what you did is you stopped and you're taking care of your mental faculties by meditating, focusing, floating, all these kind of things. That's beautiful. You're with yourself. You forget that spatial plane is accessible.
And I'm also working out now,
right?
And,
so
and I've been
what
fasting,
I mean. And so
I've been taking good care of the meat vehicle,
which kind of almost maybe gives you more opportunity to open up certain doors and remove certain filters that otherwise are clogged up with all this shit. Yeah. To where that little space you're talking about, this separate dimension for the mind,
clearing up,
it's not accessible as much, man. It's dirty, it's muddy in there. I don't know, brain plaques, whatever. Just this shit's not wired right, and so we are still predicated off a lot of chemical reactions, everything else, and what needs to happen. Like if you have high cortisol levels or everything else, I'm assuming those doors are going to be harder to obtain.
Yeah. I'd agree.
So if you're in a better condition, I think that gives you the option to then open some of those doors or maybe peruse through some of those filters that didn't filter out, are not clogged up.
There's also like the opposite side of that, the crazy lifters that like work out and don't take care of the mind, and it's just like, dude, you got.
I think it's important to know why you're doing it.
Yeah. Intention has been I've been much more aware of my intentions lately.
I think that's cool. Because like you just said, get up in the morning, just do the willy-nilly. You got to pee, you got to poop, got to do this. There you go. But you've already started the day with an intention.
Yeah.
And then you do everything else based off of that intention or that experience or whatever. Or just the fact that you just got to go and hang out with yourself.
Like I've been thinking about Naval Ravikant, like how he talks about like
Naval.
The intention kind of splits like into status or wealth, right? I'm totally talking out of my ass here. Like,
I get what you're saying though.
But yeah, it's like, and I think about that. So like when I do things, I'm just like, am I doing this for the status or am I doing this and wealth being defined as like freedom to do what you want, and stuff like that, like not just money.
Yeah, just having the ability to generate assets all the time. It doesn't have to be monetary assets. I get what you're saying. Versus if you're one of those bodybuilder dudes, that's what is the wealth that you're trying to obtain? Is it actually status, or is it wealth, or is it money,
or is it freedom? Right? Or
freedom, yeah. Which would be incorporating what wealth. I think what Naval's saying is that really is a like people
Money's a part of
misrepresent
that.
wealth though, like wealth in general. What is that versus? When you think most people think about wealth, they think about your bank account, but that's not wealth.
No, your health is your wealth.
Yeah, there's a part of that, and finances too, and it's building those assets and stuff that work and build wealth while you're asleep, doing other things. Meditating is one of them.
Yeah.
Being smart with passive income, that's monetary, but it's still one of them. And then money in it itself is just a way to be able to exchange things. It's a credit and a debit. That's just all that is. So the more you have it, whatever, you can credit and debit a little bit easier. But if you don't have wealth, what does it matter? And the distinguishing one that I get big on is status. Because I think most people usually have a status that they aren't intent. That's not their intent because they haven't stopped and looked at an intent. But it's usually status driven.
Right. And I notice that all the time now. I'm just like,
I do
damn.
it. I mean, I think
Why do I have all these books I don't read?
Look at my books.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Man,
Like,
you want to come downstairs and walk by my books?
my buddy Darren Keene actually pointed that out one day when he came over. He was just like, people that have all these books, like, and he's like, I'm not saying this about you, but I just think that, but they have all these books. It's like a thing, like, you bring people over and you've got this shelf of books. Like, look at my books.
Look at my knowledge.
And it's like Naval talks about, you don't even need to finish the book. Like,
He taught me how to read different. Simply, he did. I used to always feel that pressure to finish a book. I don't read that. I don't read like that anymore. I do with my kids. I take it because it's usually it's usually fiction, things like that. I take it front to end. But no, I don't read that way at all anymore. I read and I grasp onto something, and if it resonates me with whatever else, I stick with that, and then I try to learn it. And it might take me to 4 different books. It might take me to just never even reading that book again. And maybe I pick it up some other day and there's a new thing. But yeah, that cover to cover is done.
Yeah.
I don't read that way anymore at all. And I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, trying to remember all this shit. I'm going to get it all in there really quick, and then I'm going to be better. And it's a status thing.
It's a status thing. I finished the
not a-
book. Did you finish the book?
Not only did I finish the book, I memorized it well enough to where I can fucking pair enough stuff to make it look like I know what I'm talking about.
But, yeah.
So basically all I did was amp up my bullshit ability just a little bit more, which I already have a PhD in, man. I might as well keep polishing
I got a
that thing,
PhD in bullshit etology.
and that'll take you far in life. It will, but it's very transactional. It's very,
Got me pretty far.
Yeah, I think it gets most people far before you approach adulthood and start looking at things different. It's a very, very, very good skill to have if you're going to live life transactionally. 100%.
Yeah.
It's a great skill. So, especially when you do it over and over and you think you realize it works, why not hone in on it?
But to be honest with it, man,
Yeah.
it's like a good feeling because like now I know it's like, okay, like, sometimes it is advantageous to do things for status, to gain wealth.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's part of the chessboard of life.
Right.
You're not cheating. That's how I kind of distinguish it too. Like you have a game, checkers, chess, whatever it is, football. There's rules. There's also people that are better at certain maneuvers or skills or whatever. But it's not the objective to just win that game, right? It's to get to the championship, to get to the World Series. You're gonna win some games, you're gonna lose some games, but no matter what, during each game, you can't fucking cheat.
Right.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. Have the
So,
integrity to play with
play it right, man. And then be honest with yourself. If you're always doing for status and you win that one game, that doesn't mean it's going to take you to the championship, whatever that is.
Right.
But if you do enough things right, you're going to be in the games long enough. You're going to accumulate enough W's to where you are probably going to be in the championship game or whatever that is. But there's going to be learning along the way.
Yeah. And learning is to me is like the goal.
Dude,
That's like, propagating the species, that's that.
Right.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, but
But
you're not helping with it.
I'm not going to do that. Like, sorry, Earthlings. You ain't getting another one of me.
Oh, we just need more Jessies in the world, man. It's
Yeah.
all right. You can just give it to somebody else. You don't have to raise it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just
It's like
go
I feel
spread
like
that seed, buddy.
When But I feel like when I'm responsible enough, we might adopt
There's
a kid.
cups
but-
and stuff, Still be married. Go to a little bank, hand it out. They pay you.
Yeah.
They'll even give you money for that Jesse seed.
Wealth.
Yeah. That's like all it, right? Oh,
But yeah,
man.
like I mean, Star Trek had it right, man. The prime objective is to learn, and like whenever like
isn't
Picard would get into a situation where he's just like, it's like, if we can't learn from each other, then we're done here. And then he'll just split. It's like in like when they're in like an altercation or something, like if they get to a point where it's like if like the other alien race is just not willing to learn or have anything to teach you.
Right. Dude, I like that you brought that up because that goes also with the idea of, God, sorry, we're jumping all over the place, but there's so many big things when you brought up the mental plane and stuff like that. I loved it because I always think about us being, and I kind of talked to you about this before, like little antennae walking around, man. And don't get me, this is not scientific in nature whatsoever, but it's just a cool analogy I like to utilize to let people know that they're in control. In high school, I always had this little note card on my mirror, and it just said attitude is everything. That's the only fucking thing I had on there. That was it. That's all it took. I didn't have to have other quotes by other people. All I had to do remember was attitude is everything. It's just everything to me at that time, meaning in which I always have a choice. Like I always love when people talk about, oh, dude, this guy's driving me crazy, or this lady's driving me crazy, or whatever. And I always use that same analogy, man, where I'm like, look, you want to know what? The only way somebody can drive you crazy is if you give them the keys, man. So don't give them the keys. Right. Like, it's your choice. They're not grabbing them out of your pocket. Don't give them to them. They can't drive you crazy. Congratulations. Well, there you go. They're not driving you crazy. You're choosing to allow them to drive you crazy. It's a choice, which is predicated off your attitude and how you perceive that environment, which is where you start tapping into that little plane like you were talking about. Like that's a freaking endless place, man.
Oh, yeah.
So everything else kind of does become trivial once you realize that and you can distinguish between the two. So where was I going with this? Was talking about Picard and meeting aliens and deciding.
And learning. And learning.
So that's another thing, like where these little antennae walking around. I used to work at Dell, man. I remember we had a very small group of network analysts and engineers that worked there, but most of the place was just this insurance farm, right? And these like just kind of low-level tech people that don't probably really love their life that much, and you're stuck in a cubicle all the time, and you
probably feel like a number.
And so every time I'd leave our little world to kind of go walk down the hall to pee or get a drink or whatever, and I'd be walking down the hall, I felt like my little antennae were susceptible to everybody's frequency they were putting off, right? Like, so if I'm Picard or whatever, and I'm running into this guy who just ain't putting off the right frequency, man, I'm like, well, I don't have to choose to be in this frequency field, right? Like, I don't have to allow my little antenna be subjected to this, man. So if that alien's then walking down the hall, do something like smile at me, how's your day going? What's up, man? Good to see you, whatever. It's just like this cool frequency I can kind of tap into, but I get to choose. Now I'm susceptible to it due to the fact that I have these fake antennae sticking out of my head, right? But the whole point was, like, if we do things differently from an attitude and perspective and a lot of things we talk about, I feel like it tunes in the dial a little bit more on you being just this antennae. You're not the radio. You're just the antennae that can accept different frequencies from like an overarching radio. I don't know what that might be. But you're more susceptible to be able to tap into them, man. And so if you do all this stuff, and Picard does this stuff or whatever, he just chooses, I don't want to be part of that frequency, man.
Changing the radio station.
Just changing the radio station. It's that easy.
Yeah.
And
you got to be aware that there's a radio station.
Maybe.
In the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be aware. It's like, because I think a lot of people are just like.
That's a good point. And
like, if somebody's driving you crazy, you don't even know the radio's on.
We should just have a whole float on just awareness and asking yourself why you do almost anything.
Jumping all over like this is exactly like how my float was, dude.
This is how my float was,
My float
too.
was just like, I was just like, the power of saying no. Oh, my meditation. Oh, my God. Oh, my dreams. Blah, blah, blah. And then my stomach growls, and I woke up, and the float was over.
That's hilarious. My float was identical until I was like, oh, my God, I forgot to put screws in those last few boards. I was building a fence this weekend, man. It got dark, and so I'm just throwing in pickets left and right, and I forgot to. There was a spot where I was like, oh, yeah, when I get to this rail, I need to add screws before I keep going. And I was like, oh. I skipped that rail by about 30 feet. I was like,
oh, damn.
I got to go back and fix that. But, that's what.
Sorry, we got to cut this podcast short. Levi's got to go put some screws in.
But I don't know. We could try to sum it up a little bit because I think there was a lot of awesome topics, and it'd be very cool to have somebody else in with these because I think me and you both know, well, or disagree with what I was about to say, but we don't agree on everything, but we still have an idea of like, I know where you're probably going to go with it. And then we can play devil's advocate off each other, which is fun.
Yeah. Because again, I'm totally talking out of my ass.
Oh, I am too, man. All the time.
Not a pro and nothing. I'm a pro in nothing.
Yeah.
That's
we're
it.
experts in nothing. And it's weird. I'm a super skeptic, but I'm very aware that that can be very hindering too, you know, to just constantly have your BS flag just stuck.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's like having the hammer, right? You're looking for a nail, like
Yeah,
trying
dude,
to disprove everything.
right. Like I think it's good to be skeptical. It's good to have a healthy dose of.
Yeah.
That's what being objective is, right? But at the same time, I also love my mind to be able to think, you know, kind of like what you're talking about with little antenna sticking out and like thinking about that mental plane and what is that, man, and where are we? And only thing I get creeped out about by it is I think too many people are just like zombies in the street. They've been infected with this virus and they're not trying to eat flesh. They're just trying to find hope and a purpose. And they're just anywhere they can go, man. That's just like in any movie you watch. It's not flesh. It's hope. And it's a purpose and it's meaning. And so I always get really, really nervous about accidentally peddling hope. I just want to have a fucking open conversation, dialogue about nonsense, man. I don't want anybody to listen to this and grasp onto hope. I think it's dangerous.
Like, and not to like give hope a bad name or anything, but like just to be clear, like if you need hope, things have to be fucked.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like,
you're hoping for a better future.
Right, because if things aren't fucked and things are good, you don't need hope.
Yeah,
so it's like,
true. Dude, there's a weird paradox that takes place there because there's also this idea that everything's fucked.
Right.
But if you look at the material world, for sake of argument, just from the material side, everything's better than it ever has been by far.
Right.
Which then makes me think that now we think that we have more to lose, hence, i.e., we have to hope for a better future. Like, it forces you to almost have more hope because you have more to lose. It's weird.
It's like you hope you don't lose all of this.
So then everything is perceived as a threat. Does that make sense? So it's the safest it's ever been. We're more open than we've ever been. We're more willing to try to learn from each other than we ever been. Like, we're just by far safer.
I think it was like the 1700s in Italy was like the worst time to be alive. Like,
so many bad times to be alive.
Killing people all the time and shit.
I mean, just not even that. They would have town squares for it.
Right, yeah, people would be
no, it's like bring the popcorn, Jesse.
Yeah.
We're going to go watch this dude be beheaded. We ain't got nothing else going on tonight, man. It's like the fucking Super Bowl. It gives you something to do.
Right.
It gave them something to look forward to.
Right,
Isn't
I
that
hope
weird?
that ain't me.
It is so gross, though. It's literally like you're just going to your buddies like, oh, yeah, just bring a side dish.
Yeah. So it's like not to say like
Hope's not terrible, but the thing is, why hope for a better future when you can just be a better fucking now?
Yeah,
that's my point.
Like,
man.
be pragmatic now. Like, do things.
Well,
there are things you can do now.
When you bring up the word,
bring up that hope.
Yeah, there's just so many little variables that go into this where we are obviously not smart enough to bring it up. But like even when you said being pragmatic about things, I think first and foremost before you can dial into this, and we brought it up before, is its maturity. It's becoming an adult. And that isn't based off of a number of age, but it's based off of the way you view the world versus, you know, when you're an adult, you're very self-aware, i.e., it's what we talked about a whole bunch already, right? So you're intent on what you're doing. You're self-aware on what you are or aren't doing, why you're doing it. Step number one. And then you're pragmatic. You're pragmatic. You're doing it unconditional. So we talked about all of these, man. So throughout these last like 5 or 6 podcasts, you put them all together. You start getting to that perspective where then from there, you really don't fucking need hope.
Yeah. Like,
you don't.
You just. I mean, well, it's like you can imagine, or for like of a hopeful, better future.
Yeah.
But then you can extrapolate how to get there from now.
To just be now.
Yeah. Like so, it's like if we can make things better. We can hope for a better future, and but
we can work
visualize
towards a progression.
that. So and then backtrack and say, how can I get from here to there?
Yeah.
What can I do right now to get to there?
Right.
Because it's like just hoping isn't going to bring it.
No, and the other thing is always hoping for better is not just allowing yourself to suffer now. And I think you said something the other day, or posted something the other day, where you're like, and this is in the same genre, but that avoiding suffrage is suffrage in itself.
Yep.
It's super obvious, but you don't think about that.
Yeah, it's like, the avoidance of suffering is suffering.
It's literally suffering. You're forcing yourself to suffer. And anyway, but I still think people, in general, human beings, I should say, Homo sapiens, whatever it is, people with this ability to abstractly see a future version of themselves and everything else, it creates existential angst. It creates nihilist thoughts. It creates everything else. And then you need to fill these holes, man. That's why it happens. Your dog isn't thinking about this. Your cat doesn't care. They don't care. They don't care at all. They're not thinking like that. We do. And it's the double-edged sword of being a human being, man. And having that gap is really dangerous. I agree. And you can't fucking tell people what to believe in. Like me and you, I think personally both choose like Immanuel Kant's way of doing it, you know, through consciousness and just predicating consciousness. Just progression with that. That's it. That's it. That's all I need, man. That does it for me. That's my quote unquote religion. Actually, man, maybe that's your deal, dude. You want your googly eyed religion. Yeah, right? Dude. That's what happened. That's why you're getting bombed. Manuel Kant was coming after you. He's like, look, bitch, you just fucking picked another religion.
It was Jeff Fortenberry. He was bombing the googly-eyed cult.
Oh, yeah, because that's where that whole controversy happened. People were going around and making those signs, right?
Yeah, like somebody put the googly-eyed thing. He put all the... Oh, man.
Forgot about that. Anyway, it's so hard to stay on subject after a crazy float and some coffee like that.
My float was great, dude.
But the whole point, I think, was I really enjoyed about this, and maybe we can bring it up next time if we're getting deep. How long have we been going?
Oh, we're good. I'm just
okay.
Getting it going.
But I really like your idea of what that mental plane is. How do you define, if not necessarily define, because it creates these weird boundaries and you can't define things that are ineffable anyway.
The mind has no boundaries.
Right.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. It probably doesn't, man. Maybe it does. But it is true. Like, you got to be able to talk to them both. It's not like you're debating. That's what I started thinking about this. Like, instead of having debates, what's the objective of a debate?
To win.
Exactly. That's the objective of a debate, is to win.
Not to learn.
But dialogue there's no objective to win.
Yeah, it's just...
So if you have just dialect, that's awesome. So do that instead of the debate side.
Isn't that what Socrates was all about? Like,
yeah, I believe so.
Didn't he like invent dialogue? Like, I thought like he was the one that started like writing like that in the form of dialogue, of having this just like a conversation of these
just
people.
Conversation back and forth. So I if we have any time left, I really like this one, man.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? What is this plane of existence? What's this? It's like, I brought up wardrobe earlier. It reminded me of Narnia. You remember The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
I never seen that.
You never read that?
Yeah. Or read it. I guess it's a book.
I thought you had lots of books, Jesse Butterfield.
I don't read them.
Your collection's nothing without the wardrobe. It was a great fantasy novel for when you were a kid.
Okay.
Because what it did was like, wait, is there other worlds, man? And then you start asking yourself, that's not real. That's not possible. But then you start looking at everything around your house like, maybe if I go in that door, maybe I'll go into the secret world. And then you're like, do I want to go into the secret world? Can I fucking get back?
Yeah.
Because my little world is predicated by my parents that keep me safe, have these boundaries, all these limits, everything else. But I like this. I don't think those thoughts and ideas ever go away. And I do think it has a lot to do with just simply being conscious and being nervous about it and everything we're talking about, instead of filling those holes. What the fuck is it, man?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
What is thought? Why does it happen? How did we evolve this way? I know there's a lot of scientific explanation. The neocortex is able to process things different, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and it goes on and on and on. But it's still fun to just have the abstract, complete, subjective, like nonsense, metaphysical thought about it, and I love it.
Oh, dude, part of my favorite part of the Sam Harris meditation app is when he's like, like he'll kind of let you go for a while of silence and just doing your thing, and then he'll just kind of like butt in, and it's because everybody gets caught up in thought.
Yeah,
and so that's and he even says like, I will be interjecting here. And
that's exactly what he would say, huh? I will be interjecting here
to help catch yourself and in thought. And when you do catch yourself distracted by thought, observe that thought without judgment, because judgment is just another thought.
It's just another thought, right?
And so what happens to that thought when you observe it?
I'm doing it right now. With this dead air. I'm literally taking the thought and I'm observing it. Okay, I did it, man. Now,
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
It's like, where does the thought go?
All right, we're going to have 10 seconds of dead air because I'm literally going to try this. Okay, so I'm going to take this thought and I'm just going to observe it. And I have a feeling it's just going to go away, but all right, here we go. All right, Sam, I'm in.
That didn't take long.
Take 10 seconds, dude. Yeah, where'd it go?
Yeah, like, I love that, dude. It's so fun.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So is there a benefit in training yourself to actually be able to just hold a thought?
I don't know.
What?
Maybe. I mean, your focus. You're sharpening that tool of your attention, your focus, your awareness, because those are all different things, and being able to differentiate like the difference between your attention, your focus, your awareness, like mindfulness, all of that shit. Like, because like I remember hearing that like mindfulness is just being aware of the continuity of your mind like stream, because your thoughts continue to happen and with or without your control. And so just be aware of that.
Just the autonomic nature.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Like being aware of that. Like
that's what mindfulness is.
That's what mindfulness is. It's like, damn.
That's pretty basic.
But it's like the more you sharpen these tools, the more,
I'm pretty fucking good at that. And honestly, there is a double-edged sword with that too, because then you're always aware of the fact that you're aware, the fact that you're aware, the fact that you're aware, which is very isolating. Yeah. Because how am I supposed to keep, it's fun to, like, one of my biggest things is, I remember reading, not Into the Wild. What was the book where the kid ran off to Alaska?
Into the Wild.
No, it's not Into the. Is that really what's called?
Yeah, yeah, the one with Eddie Vedder doing the soundtrack.
Yeah. Dude, that's a fucking money soundtrack too. Dude, Eddie Vedder's such a badass.
Into the Wild. Are we wrong? Into the Wild.
It
right?
might be.
Tell me, people.
I'm sitting here thinking of like White Fang and other books too. Is that what that was? So anyway, that kid, Supertramp, right? He named himself at the very. And I don't think this happened in real life. Maybe this was in the movie and not in the book, because I remember now I'm visualizing it. There's that thought.
Where to go?
Visualization. I still see it, man. But he wrote at the very end, like at the very end of his journal, at the very end of the movie, he wrote, "Happiness is only real when it's shared."
Ooh.
And I love that. I'm not saying, hey, that's accurate. I'm just saying, I'm like that, man. Like if I see the most profound sunset, I think I might have went the whole. No, I haven't. If I see the most beautiful sunset, or if anything else, once I have that visceral response to something, it ain't that cool when it's just me. I want to share it with somebody else, both unselfishly and selfishly, because it gives it some type of more meaning. So if I see it or whatever, I need you to have it too.
Oh, dude.
So when I'm always self-aware, it's like Jesse, I can't keep up. It's a weird feeling. I've always found that interesting. It kind of, I don't know.
But I was actually talking to Becky about this, like, because, you generate your own happiness. Only you can make you happy.
100% agree with that.
But you can share the things that make you happy with other people. And so I was just like,
and not the attempt to make them happy, just to share, right?
Right. So I actually was talking to my wife about this. I was just like, so misery loves company.
For sure.
But so does happiness.
Yes.
So you got to be careful.
Dude, that's what I was talking about with Picard, man. Those are the antennae on top of your head. That's you walking down the hallway, and instead of just fucking farting, 10 yards before you see the person get past you, like, I'm going to get some of that. Smile at them, man.
Because they're about to walk into a minefield.
Don't go rape their freaking little antennas with just smell, I guess, olfactory disgust or auditory disgust, where people are always honking their horns at people. Like, why are you doing that, man? By the way, totally, we're so bad at staying on subject today. They need to make 2 different horns, dude, for cars. They need to make a kind little, oh, hey, honey, the light turned green. Toot. Yeah, like a boot-a-doot-doot. Just letting you know. Because when people texting driving down, it's always like, they'll just be sitting at a green light, and it's always like, you just sound like such a dick. And I try to, like, how can I hit it? How can I hit the horn just right? Like, I'm really not mad, but I'm trying to help you out.
Right.
Like, you should probably pay the fuck attention. But I always wave. I was like, honk. I'm like, just letting you know, man. I wasn't like trying to take your antennas and just like, just bring you into this shitty frequency, man, without you, because you didn't request to be. So I'm not going to just go espouse it everywhere.
Get on it, Tesla.
And that's my dude, he probably does. I guarantee you.
If any car has the nice horn, it's gonna be Tesla.
The happy horn, man, for that asshole that's sitting at the sitting at the green light for 10 seconds. Dude, there needs to be a happy horn.
Yeah, just like,
I love it. Like, or if you're just like somebody needs to get in or whatever, you hit the happy horn, meaning which, I'm waiting for you. Go ahead, sneak in, man. I'll hold these guys up behind you. But if I keep holding them up, now I'm being an asshole. So happy horn.
Yep.
Dude.
You heard it here first on the Post Vote podcast.
Yes, bring in the happy horn. Dude, my dad, my very first car was like a 1985 Bronco. Didn't run. Anyway, long story, whole different story. But my dad, fucking one day I get in my car and I'm driving to work or doing something. I turn on the turn signal and Elvis Presley starts playing. I'm like, what is happening right now? And I didn't know I didn't associate the two. And then I did it again. I'm like, every time I turn on my signal, Elvis Presley, like a song's playing, just the melody or whatever.
What the hell?
You could just put in a fuse. There was just these cool fuses you could get that just had that track on there.
What?
So every time you hit the turn signal, whenever that fuse to turn on your light and kick it on would just play a melody.
You got blue suede shoes?
Dude, it was so crazy, man. Anyway, that just reminded me of it. Dude, I would just take it in and out because after a while you go bananas, man. And it keeps playing like well after the turn signal's gone off. But I used to love putting that thing in and out all the time.
That's
anyway,
crazy. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so you could do turn signal sounds, everything else.
Man, yeah. Tesla.
Dude, apparently Teslas are amazing.
Dude, I saw Tesla tweeted out the other day.
Their cars can fart.
Well, yeah, because my wife's boss has a Tesla, and he showed me the fart mode and the ludicrous mode.
Yeah.
Doing 0 to 60 in 2 seconds in downtown Omaha, and I
that.
shit my pants. But
so just shove you back.
Oh, dude, it's like G-force, man.
yeah.
Like holy fuck, and then it just stops on a dime, and it's like holy fuck.
That's awesome.
But I saw Tesla tweeted out. Did anybody find the Easter egg that releases Cthulhu, our Dark Lord?
Who is Cthulhu? They just make that up?
No,
or is that...
Cthulhu's like this ancient sea beast that destroys the earth.
That's Cthulhu?
Yeah.
I never knew that was what it was called.
Yeah.
Really? Like the octopus guy?
Yeah.
No kidding, man.
Yeah, so apparently there's an Easter egg in the Teslas that will release Cthulhu, our Dark Lord.
Did anybody find it?
Yeah, one guy said he found it, but he was sworn to secrecy. And then Tesla responded to that dude saying, yeah, but we swore you to secrecy about being sworn to secrecy. So but yet here we are.
Remember that NDU sign? We own you. Now, because they need test subjects, man. That's probably what they do. They get people to break their NDs so they have test subjects for their next weird thing.
Oh, yeah. Abduction. Taking you to Area 51, buddy.
P.S. Man, Rogan's got some new podcasts now. Apparently, he has that that Navy pilot. Yeah, the Tic Tac guy.
I want to see that so bad.
So I'm gonna watch that. I still have time, man. Mm-hmm. Do we need to wrap this up, man? Have we been going forever?
I have no idea. Oh, I mean, we got a good half hour, 40, 50. Probably close to an hour, I bet.
Are we? I feel bad when we take people past an hour, but we can keep rocking for a little bit if you want.
Yeah,
we could clean it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you have anything else you want to get off your chest there?
Dude, I could do this all fucking day right now.
I know, right?
Because we would just jump in, like, dude, no coffee for a week type thing. Have a coffee, man. And I'm all over the place, man. I'm just ready to go. So do you want to talk about this? Oh, did you hear about that? Oh, wait, before you finish answering the question I just asked you, I got something else to say. And hurry up because I got something else to say. I didn't even hear what you said, but I'm ready to talk again.
Is it my turn yet?
That's the worst when you find yourself in those are the worst conversations though, right? I'm being
serious.
serious.
Just waiting for your turn to talk?
No, I mean, we're pretty self-aware, right? We know when we're being dicks like that. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about when you meet the person that isn't listening to a goddamn word you say.
And they're just waiting for their turn to talk?
They're not even waiting, man. They literally bring something up and you're like, oh yeah, I remember. And they're already talking through it. And you're trying to say like, yeah, I remember reading about that. That's cool. Tell me what you think. I hit one of those the other day.
Ooh.
It was like 10 minutes worth. And so I just started having fun with it in my mind, man. I didn't say one sentence. I tried. I wanted to see how many times I could try to impose yes, I hear what you're saying. Let's get on the same page. I think I probably tried 12 times.
Damn.
And they were oblivious to the whole thing and then just went on. And I was like, that'd just be... They did not just have a conversation. They attempted to have a conversation. They had a told you station. I don't know what they had, man. But I just remember standing there going, holy shit. Like, what just happened? It was just a drive-by slam this information. It was like basically they wanted to talk out loud and practice some thought, which I get. But there was no practice. It was... Do you know what I'm talking about? You never have conversations?
No, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
It's bananas.
I guess it's been a while since I've kind of...
It's like the people that are so like, go, like they've, like you were saying.
I guess I've had some, I don't want to say clients here, but clients...
Never.
Not here.
Never, man. No.
We have the best clients.
We do have the best clients, man.
We do.
But we do get the full spectrum.
We get the full, man. Like people... We
forgot to move the phone, too.
Yeah, telephone's ringing. Sorry if you're calling right now. We're doing a podcast.
Hello?
We're Monday. We're closed, baby.
I did like what you said earlier, though, about like, it's almost like you were just saying stop and smell the roses is basically the old analogy, right? But you know what I've noticed? Alan Watts said something about this one time. I obviously wasn't one of his lecturers or talking to him personally, but I remember reading. It was something about when we stop to observe, we immediately take it too far. Like we try to make profoundness, intentionally said, out of everything when we're like, oh yeah, I'm at the beach and I realize I'm not looking at the beach. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be amazing. And then you try to make it more than what it is. That's, I guess, where the byproduct of going too far would be, which I meant to bring up earlier. Yes, when you're walking down the street, when you ever take those moments of, this separate existence being kind of motored around in this meat vehicle of yours, and you get to bring in all these observations and stick it in this other fucking world. It's incredible. And being aware of that and appreciative of that, and but at the same time, don't force it.
Yeah.
Do it, but don't do it.
Don't try.
Yoda. Yes, man. It is that. It's kind of that, which is one of the most annoying fucking sayings in the world. Like,
do or do not.
Do less.
Oh, I was thinking Yoda. Do or do not.
Do or do not.
There is no try.
But I hate it when people are like, just be.
Just be.
Don't try. Just be. Wait, what? So confused, man.
So I'm gonna try to be.
Yeah, but no. Now you're trying, man. No, just be. Stop trying. Just be. Do less.
Okay.
No, do a little more than that. Okay, less. No, more. Okay, you got it.
Okay,
you're
cool.
good. Okay.
That was hard.
There was some stupid comedy movie where Paul Rudd was doing that. Some guy's trying to get on the surfboard. He's like, no, do less, man. No, he's like, less than that. No, do less. There's Jason Statham. Not Statham. That would be a terrible.
Statham?
Paul Rudd. And can you imagine those two in the same movie together? The goofy guy who did... I'm terrible with actors and pop culture. But anyway, long story short, he just laid on top of the surfboard like, okay. He's like, no, you got to do more than that, man.
Oh, man.
But I love that. Like, just be. What does that mean?
But I do like you've said this to me like when we first met, and it was just like do less better.
Yes.
Like I've always liked that. Like
I'm doing a horrible
that's kind of like
that,
the power of saying no. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
You want to do less better. So
let's finish
no.
on that so we don't have to worry about the power of no.
Okay.
Let's do that. What did you bring out of that?
Yeah, like I've been trying and I really suck at it. And because like for my band example,
okay,
not my band, the band I'm in. I hate saying my band, dude, because I sound like
yours, bro. You own all the books, man.
So it's like the band I play with. I've been trying to, be more strategic and just like. And I feel like I'm just saying no to say no sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we'll be offered a show and I'll just be like, no.
Just to practice? Like, fuck you guys. I'm going to practice right now.
My bandmates are like, what the hell? Like, I want to play shows, man. Like, I'm just like, well, damn it. I'm trying to do this thing where it's like.
Well, why are you trying? I mean.
I'm trying.
Do less.
Damn it. But, and then like being like the diet is a real motherfucker because I am hooked on junk food and fast food and all this shit. And we work right next to Eileen's Cookies. Yeah, and it's just like, holy shit.
They know you there, don't they?
They do.
And every store in between.
Like, see that guy going over there every morning? Like, I mean, I'm a sucker, but I've been doing. I haven't been over there in a long time, and I just been I've been good at saying no to that. But it's like it doesn't go away. I still want those cookies.
I was thinking,
and the cookies aren't even that good. They're
just cookies, man.
It's just junk, and it's just. But it's really bad for you. I know it's consciously incompetent. You know what I mean?
That it is, yeah.
And so I don't know. So I've been trying to be better at saying no. The float kind of made me way more aware of how bad I am at saying no in the wrong times. But and I'm getting better at saying no in the good times of like the diet one's a good one.
That's interesting. So you were looking at more from a personal standpoint. I went in there, I thought we were supposed to think about saying no to other people. That's
kind of that too. Like
I'm not saying you didn't, obviously.
The band was kind of one. We were saying no to other people, but
you fucking ruined that. You were just saying no to say no. It's like, let's write some lyrics. No. Maybe we should have lyrics for a song. No.
Make me.
That's a great lyric, Jesse. What's next? No.
I think Meat Vehicle would be a good band name.
That's a fucking great band name, dude. Right? Meat Vehicle. That's definitely probably a Rogan coined thing.
Oof. But yeah, the power of no is a good one because it gives you more options to do you. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
To do less better.
Yeah, yes. That's what I really got out of it. 100%. I like that. By the way, I thought I made do less, better up. Maybe I did, man. I like that one. I'm just going to say I did.
Yeah.
Do less,
Registered, copyrighted, Levi
better.
words.
TM. What is it? Trademark.
Trademark. Wait, I don't know how they work.
So, yes. I think there's a lot to set up here, but I think I was like, you know what, we could talk about no all day. It's kind of silly. I don't think anybody needs help to understand this one, but I was like, what do you think one of the biggest reasons? That's what I was trying to come up with the take at first before I went a million other places, but I was like, what's the biggest reason people can't say no? That was what I was trying to figure out. I was like, I can sit here and talk about saying no all day long, but I was like, what, in 5 minutes, maybe I can think of, what do I think is the biggest reason people can't say no? What do you think it is right off the bat? Not to put you on the spot. I kind of do too, but I'll break that down a little bit more. I don't think people want to be mean, man.
Yeah, you want to please
feel
other
guilty.
people.
You want to please other people. That's 100%. It's this weird. It is status. I just didn't want to say status is this overarching thing, but it's 100%. I think the number one reason.
And what that does is that sacrifices your own happiness for other people.
Which then snowballs right the fuck out of control and puts you in a bad way where
you can't control other people's happiness, man.
Yeah, you just said that about when you're talking about something with Becky earlier too on the podcast. You didn't associate with her, but you were like, you can't make other people. Misery loves company.
Yeah. I was just like, Becky, Eureka! Yeah. Misery loves company, but so does happiness. And then she and I talked about how, like, but you make your own happiness.
So let's take the two and stick them together here. Then, so imagine you have an acquaintance, might not be your best friend or something like that, but that acquaintance is also putting those frequency fields out where they might just be they choose. It's not the consequences of life, really. They still make the choice to be fucking miserable or whatever. And to become a victim or everything else gives them purpose. So these are all tying together. But some of those people, and I'm not saying anything bad, I love them. I love them. I love a lot of you.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what? I don't want to hang out with a lot of you. You're all my best friends. But you have friends out there sometimes like, hey, man, what's going on? It's not like they tell you the good shit. It's immediately like, well, worked 70 hours last week, dude. Got 3 hernias, got hemorrhoids, but cream don't work for shit.
This chair sucks. It hurts right now.
And you know what? It's everybody else's fault, man. And so yeah, this and that, and you're just
you're giving them the keys.
Oh yeah, if you let them, you give them the keys. What I would do is, so that person exists. Let's just build that person. You love them. They're a great dude, but it is that person. You know them. You know that person. Everybody has them in their life. I don't want to be around that person. I still love them. And if they were like, hey, man, can I come over and just crash your place for a week, dude? I got that thing in my basement. Those people didn't do it right, whatever. Now there's this or whatever. I'm like, you know what I'm going to say? No. You know why I wouldn't say no? Because I don't want to hurt their feelings and everything else. And and this is not saying no, by the way. Saying, you know what, man? It just so happens my mother-in-law is coming that week.
Right,
That's not saying no.
No, yeah.
That's not, and also that's still setting up the conversation. If you were trying to be effective and efficient with this, they'd be like, well, what about the week after? I'll just reschedule. Be like, oh yeah, now I just fucked myself. The real answer was, no, man, I just don't want you to stay at my house. And what's cool, this is what I think. What's cool is if you can say that and it's taken well, you have a good relationship. Even if that person, if you gave them the keys, would drive you crazy and everything else. If that person just hears no and be like, cool. No big deal, man. That's a good thing, man. And my dad said one thing to me before he died. Like, we were pregnant and going to have our first kid. My dad was already sick. But he did say one thing to me made no sense to me until Harper was like 4. It wouldn't be right. But anyway, it didn't make sense to me for a while. He's like, hey, man, one of the most important things you need to do when you have a kid. And I'm like, what? He's like, teach him the word no. Okay, Dad, I don't think that's going to be that hard. But what I didn't understand what he meant.
To accept no, right?
To accept no. Which, in order for your kid to accept no, you have to have built an environment where that is okay. Where I can literally say no, and it ain't weird. Dad's not an asshole.
Right.
It doesn't feel good to hear no, everything else like that. But this whole relationship, the mechanistics of it, it's all good. You're groovy. You got told no. I also got to say no to you and not be in the back of my head going, oh, my kid's going to hate me. I want to be the coolest, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't exist if you build the right environment. But if you don't and you say no, that kid will not know how to hear the word no. So it made sense to me finally. Are you there?
I'm that kid,
You're
dude.
that kid, dude.
Don't you tell me no, motherfucker.
But, okay, here's a good example. Like you're married and you have a good relationship. There is definitely there's this world built there where I guarantee there's points and times where Becky can say no and you just fucking eat it.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can't give your feedback and everything else, but like,
I'm much better at it than I was, but I still struggle with it, dude. I'm just like,
yeah. And you could go many roads down there about like, don't take away my freedom and sovereignty and everything else. But hey, you chose to do this, man. You chose to be monogamous.
You need to be able to accept no.
No,
like,
you need to be, and that shows a good relationship.
But you also need to be able to say no too.
But right, that's my whole point. In order to be able to say no, that builds those relationships. So like a business, for example, like Lost and Flow, it's a good example. I could have people ask me questions all day, and it sucks, man, to hear a lot of things. But it's a skill to learn how to say no, especially when you want people to like you and like your business. And there's that status, and now you're associating yourself with the business and you, and it's this weird thing, man, and you're learning how to do it. But it's very, very important to be able to just have an outright no, not in a mean way or anything like that. Just like, you know what? Honestly, I don't have the time right now. And if I helped you with that or did this, I wouldn't be able to be fully committed. No, I can't. But if something comes up or there's availability in the future, I'll let you know. Now I own the conversation because you got to wait for me. And I was honest, unconditional. These all come together. So that's what I was thinking about the float tank. They all kind of come in. There's this stupid little question. What does it mean to say no? But yeah,
that's good, man.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
no, dude, we're not done.
shit, I ran out of time. Oh shit, I guess.
Did we miss?
I think we're out of space on the video. So.
All right, so this is all just audio.
Yep. So this is just
cool.
so.
We'll go out on some tunes, man.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to?
We need to get a bigger SD card.
I ordered one.
Oh, it didn't come yet.
It's probably in the mailbox, man.
I didn't check the mail.
I got to get some better employees.
So yeah, you got any housekeeping?
Housekeeping. What is that, dude? I'm just.
So we got a October artist, Trish Adams.
Yes,
she's awesome.
Yes.
You should come into Lost and Float.
She's a sweetie too. She was so cool.
Yeah, she is. She's really good.
Her and her husband Josh, and I think they're married. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Josh is awesome too. Like
yeah,
he's the dude
cool,
that said that do yoga more as like a truck driver. He's covered in tattoos.
Yeah,
and he's
right?
like, I never thought a dude with tattoos would be saying do yoga more, but do yoga more. It'll help you float better.
Yeah,
And
that's another good thing to say
that.
no at. Stigmas and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to say no at because that's
yeah.
all predicated off status. Like even you talking about you having an issue with Smeed bead. What was that stuff?
Yeah, that stuff. That's
yeah.
Oof.
Not
I say no
issue,
to that.
But
And it's not like it's a bad. It's just like the habitual thing. Like
yeah, it's very habitual.
Don't need it.
Right.
No. See, I'm gonna play a little riff my buddy Josh Schuler wrote. He came and stayed with me this weekend.
Oh, cool.
I fucking love that guy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I actually turned it into a Thunder Sandwich song, which had a bunch of bad words. So I'll just play the riff. Yeah, I don't think we have any other housekeeping unless you. Pure Brown's playing October 26th at Bodegas.
Yeah, we'll be able to pimp that before it comes up too. We'll definitely have some stuff coming up soon, man. Just hang tight. I got a few things to get out of the way, and I'll be doing less better again. Right now, I'm doing too much, not that well. But I'm self-aware.
Don't touch me there.
You did touch me, though.
Yeah, baby. It was consensual.
Bye now.
Thanks, Brian Ortega.